Hi everyone, hope you're having a great weekend. It's Monday morning here in Australia, it might be Sunday night for you wherever you are, or it could be a completely other different day of the week. Sorry about that. I wanted to jump on live to talk about my own learning through the course of this month's theme, which is all about oral training, playing by ear, listening, singing. And the more I've spoken to people about this, the more I've been learning about how oral can be approached in lessons, the more I'm realizing that this is actually a truly fundamental aspect of musicianship, that so much of instrumental music lessons, particularly on piano I think, but probably in other instruments as well, just neglect. And I think we're in a special category as pianists in that we don't have to even worry about intonation. So violin students, some brass instruments and things like that, they have to work on their embouchure. They have to also be playing in tune. At least when we hit a note on the piano, it's in tune. So I think in some ways perhaps we've become a little bit lazy in our approach, because we have all the keys laid out, and if it's a piano in tune, you play the note, it's going to be in tune. We don't have to worry so much about helping our students with their listening skills. And over the course of the last couple of 100 years, with the real focus being on playing written notation, performing and interpreting music, it's really taken a back seat. And the more I've been researching this topic and talking to people about it and exploring things this month, the more I realise that actually I think we're doing our students a real disservice by not making this one of the most important things that we do in our lessons. So what I actually want to do is show you a little bit of footage. We had a great mastermind conversation for our members last week, and I just want to play you a little bit of the clip from that conversation. It's a question that I posed to a special guest that I invited in, whose name is Christopher Sutton. He'll actually be working with me on the live training at the end of this week, which I'll tell you about in just a second. And it's about my realization that a lot of what I do is very much in bits and pieces, and perhaps that's actually not very good. So let's have a look at that now and see what you think. I'm going to flip to my computer. All right, let's see. Hopefully you can still hear this.
It's interesting. I mean, I didn't focus on... I did what everyone in Australia and the UK who send kids for exams do, or sometimes do, when I started, which was oral tests. Oh my goodness, you've got an exam in 2 weeks. Wow, we better do some oral tests. And so and other than that, I really didn't do much at all. So and that's now changed a fair bit. I'm certainly not a pro in including it, and I think one of the things that I'm looking forward to learning from you, Christopher, is a more methodical way of approaching it, because currently I do it in quite a piecemeal way. It sounds like a little bit what you're doing, Eric. It's like, oh, okay, well, this rhythm's hard, so let's tap it, let's sing it, let's tap a beat and sing the rhythm at the same time, or take an approach like that when you need it, but maybe not have a sequence to it. Do you find that that's a common thing, Christopher?
For sure. I think it comes back a little bit to that spectrum I mentioned before, where if you say to someone ear training, they think about these kind of drills and exercises, and it's totally separate from everything else. The average instrument teacher, do you do any oral in your lessons? They're on the other end of the spectrum where, as you say, it's a bit piecemeal and opportunistic. And it's great to spot those opportunities and to kind of find the places in your existing lesson material where you can bolt on a bit of oral development. But what I really think is valuable is if you can put yourself somewhere more in the middle of that spectrum. So that's taking advantage of the exercises and the drills, and it's finding those opportunities and connecting it to the repertoire and the technique and so on, but doing it in a mindful way and an intentional way, so that certainly from the student's perspective, they come to see oral as something that's always part of their music learning, and it always has some connection to what they're learning outside of the oral.
Yeah.
So I really think Christopher sums it up well in that little chat that we had, in that there's a real spectrum of oral skill development. One is one that's all about drills and really working through a structured program. At the other end of the spectrum is people like me and many others who often do it in quite a piecemeal way, quite bits and pieces. And then there's people who just use music as a focus. So when things come up in music or scales or whatever it is, they'll work on it then. And so what we all need is really a structure, a curriculum of some sort, whereby we know, well, when students are first starting, yes, these are the notes that they should learn to read first, or whatever it is in their method book, but actually they should also be able to sing do, re, mi, fa, so, and be able to pick out any of those notes. They should be able to sing back a rhythm, they should be able to play back a rhythm, and that's after year 1 of teaching. And then after year 2 of teaching, maybe this is what they should be doing, and then slowly building up. Because one of the other issues that I have is that I often, and please let me know if you do the same thing, I'll often jump too far ahead for my students. So I'll think that perhaps their listening skills are better than they are, and because I haven't really worked on a methodical kind of approach to it with them, they'll find it too hard and it will be too difficult. If you listened to the podcast I did last month, it was called How to Teach a Pop Song by Ear. You'll know my approach, and that approach is getting students listening to a pop song and being able to play aspects of what they hear. But actually, that's incredibly difficult for students if they haven't already had that experience of listening and playing simple melodies. Do, re, mi. Can you play that on the piano? Do, re, mi. Okay. All right, now let's build up from that. I'm interested. Give me a thumbs up or a heart if this has been perhaps your approach to oral teaching as well. In that, yes, you do oral training, you do listening, you do singing in your lessons. I think we pretty much all do it. But it's very opportunistic, as Chris called it, rather than mindful and progressive. And I think that's what I would love for us all to aim for. So the great thing is that together with Christopher, we're going to be going live on a little free training webinar this Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, which is Friday morning, 10 a.m. here in Melbourne time. And we're going to be talking about this whole problem about oral skill development. We're trying to work out a steady curriculum for it, and also how to make it fun, and most importantly, I think, how to make it relevant for students in the piano studio. Because if all of this is really disconnected from all other aspects of music, then it's like doing anything in isolation in a lesson. It's not going to have the desired effect for you, because students won't understand how it's related to the other things that they're doing. So hopefully that makes sense. If you're interested in joining that training, I would love for you to come on the live webinar. It's, as I say, Thursday night, Friday morning. Just go to timtopham.com/training and reserve your seat. There'll be a full replay, as always, after that. Okay, so when the other thing I would really love for you to do as we're thinking about this and wrapping up this topic this month, we've got a couple more weeks, one more week, is it? Man, time is flying so quickly, isn't it? What is it? It's the 23rd of October, so we've got one more week left looking at this particular topic. So if you've got any other questions about this, then please leave a comment. I would love to try and answer it, either in a blog post or a podcast, or on our live training, or let's just start a conversation under this thread about whether you think this is important, like I'm starting to realize I think it's more important than I actually had thought. And how you go about using it in your lessons. What kinds of things do you do? Do you use solfa? Do you use scale degrees? Do you sing music together? Do you not really do it much at all? What's your approach? Leave a comment. I'd really, really love to hear what other people are doing, and start this dialogue, because I really think there's some important things that we're missing when it comes to this aspects of students' development. And I've got to say that if it wasn't for exam boards here in Australia and perhaps in other areas of the world, then while many of us kind of moan about the fact that students have to do oral training and do oral tests, I wonder if any students would do any of it if it wasn't in an exam syllabus of some sort. And that really worries me. So it's about, I guess, for people like me, trying to help you guys find a way to bring this into your lessons in a more regular kind of way, and with some structure. And so that's what I'm really looking forward to doing. And Christopher and I have been working over the last month on a course that does actually give you these skills. So in fact, I can actually show it to you on my computer. Let me flip back to my computer screen. So we've actually been creating a course. You won't be able to hear me quite as loudly, but hopefully it'll be clear enough. All about oral training skills. So it's kind of in a couple of parts, really. We've got the Essentials of Ear Training, which is really helping teachers themselves get better at oral, because not all of us have had all that much oral skills training ourselves. So recapping, what it's about for teachers as well, a refresher on intervals, what they are, how they're going to work, using intervals in lessons. We've got a whole section on sulfur, what it's about, how to use it, why it can be really helpful for teachers. We've got a section on actually putting sulfur into practice. And the great thing is too, that this course has really come together with a whole lot of built-in audio files and worksheet downloads so that you can practice these things yourself, and also that you can work on with your students. We've also got chords to play songs by ear, chord progression recognition, and example lesson plans, and a student homework framework. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. Sorry about the view up my nose there. When it comes to giving you guys a structured plan that you can use for this kind of training. Rachel, no problem. I know it's always late when I come on the call, and you're so good to have joined us. So thanks, Rachel. I know you're over there in the UK, and it's pretty late time tonight. Hope you had a good weekend. So that's the course that we're putting together right now. It's going to be released at the end of this week, and literally this is one of the most comprehensive things that I've ever actually released. And we've actually designed an inbuilt widget on the website that allows you to test yourself on these oral skills: singing, playing, listening. So if this is an area which you could do with some help with, then this is going to be a great one to explore, and we're going to talk more about it and show you inside it and give you a really good idea about it at that training this Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Friday morning Melbourne time here. timtopham.com/training. I really hope to see you there. If you've got any comments, questions, statements, if you completely disagree, if you think that oral is a bit of a waste of time and I don't know why I've spent a whole month on it, then pop that down there in a comment too. And of course, there's that great share button. I love it when people are able to share some of my videos and thoughts. So please feel free to do that. And I look forward to seeing you, hopefully seeing your name pop up in the chat when we go live this weekend. No problem, Cheryl. I understand that people are working and it's not always a good time. So just make sure you're registered and we've got your name in the system so that we can send you the replay link. Be good to see you there, or at least give you the replay. So hopefully that's helpful for people. If you are, as I say, interested in that training, timtopham.com/training. Easy one, right? All right, guys, have a great week or a great final end to the weekend wherever you are. Wish you all the best, and I'll see you in about 5 days' time. Bye-bye.